It's our first horsemanship class that we'll go over will be the walk-trot. So we're going to start at A. We're going to jog a loop to the right. The pattern will be on the exhibitor's left-hand side. I'm sorry, the cone will be on the exhibitor's left-hand side. So we jog a loop to the right. We'll stop and back, perform a 180 to the right. We're going to jog past the center part of the pattern here. We're going to extended jog 3/4 of a circle. Once you get back toward the wall here, you're going to break to a walk. You're going to walk a square corner. You'll jog up to the end, stop, 180 left, extended jog, slow to a jog, and then exit. Okay? Let me get out of the way here whenever you're ready. So we have a little more room in this arena than we are going to have in Watt Arena. So in the Watt Arena, this loop was probably going to be a bit tighter, okay? Just to make sure you have enough room to do your circle on the right-hand side. This class, though, for the walk-trot is only in this arena. So again, for ultimate score, we want to make sure we have very round circles, okay? We don't want to cut the ends off. For this extended trot, the exhibitor will finish this 3/4 circle, trot straight across the arena. Then she'll break to a walk, walk a square corner, Now for this pattern, we don't need you to go all the way to the end. We just need to make sure that you have enough room that once the exhibitor does their 180 here, they have enough room to show each gait that's required. So after the 180 left, they're going to extend the jog. Once they pass the center line here again, they'll slow to the jog and then exit at the jog. And they do exit on this side of the cone, okay? So as they exit, the next horse is probably going to be there on the other side of the cone getting ready. So you're probably not going to end up on the wrong side of the cone there, hopefully. All right, you want to do this one once more so everyone can get a good look at it? As a reminder, as you finish this pattern, you kind of cross your center line of travel here before you break back down to the jog. Does anyone have any questions about the walk trot? Yep. past the center line there. We didn't put in there, we didn't specify how many strides or anything, but ultimately you want to make sure you do get past the center before you pick up your extended jog. Okay? You're welcome. All right, the next class is the Novice Youth and Novice Amateur. So one of these is going to be held in the Watt Arena, and the other is going to be held here in John Justin. In the Watt Arena, your start cone will be a little further off to the left, okay, so closer to the wall, because we're going to need all the space that we have. And where you should end up once you do this loop to the right is probably just about pretty much in the center of the gate, okay, in the Watt Arena. So you'll need to be conscious of your spacing there, because what you don't want to do for that class is make your loops so wide that after you lope off, you don't have enough room to perform your right circle. Okay, so it's something to be very conscious of. Also in this pattern, like I said before, there's a lot of fine points to these patterns you really need to be aware of. So this one, you're going to start at A. You're going to extend the jog loop to the right. But partway through that, you need to slow to the jog. Okay, so about halfway through your line heading back to the gate, you're going to slow to the jog. You'll stop and back, perform a 180 to the right. You're going to lope a right lead. You're going to lope a right circle. You're going to lope right across the arena. You'll lope a right square corner. Stop, 180 left. Lope left lead with a simple lead change in the middle. Once you get to the cone here, your start cone, you'll break to a walk and then walk to the exit. Okay? Let me get out of your way here. So again, something to think about as an exhibitor. Really know your horse, have some feel. Make sure you don't push so hard that your horse lopes off. Okay, all this comes with practice. So once we make our loop here at the extended jog, when we're part way back to the start cone, we'll slow to the jog. We'll stop and back and then do a 180 to the right. So the lope right lead down this line, the lope 3/4 circle, and then the lope straight across the arena are all three separate maneuvers, okay? So for you exhibitors that are doing this pattern in Watt Arena, again, it's not quite as wide as this. So once your horse's head gets past this cone, you can go ahead and make your turn to the right to get up the rail. So one thing to be aware of, we need to get far enough up the arena that you have room to turn around and do your lead change. Not a huge issue with this pattern, but we have one coming up that has more than one lead change, so that will be something extra to kind of think about when we get to that. Does anyone want to see this pattern again? We can run it right quick just so you sort of have a good feel for it and how it should go. In the Watt Arena, we have a sign on the wall that says TPHBA, the Texas Paint Horse Club. That's where your cone will be setting, okay, for this pattern. Where the cone is now is where it's actually going to be setting for this class, so we're in good shape. Like I said, this pattern's pretty forward, so it goes pretty quick. Really, the only downtime here is when we have to stop back and turn around. The rest of it's all very forward. So, you're going to have a plan as you come into this. Know where you're going, know where you want to be, or you're not going to end up in the right spot. And again, in Watt Arena, once your horse's head gets past this cone, you can go ahead and make your right square corner. Make sure you have enough room. And if you notice in the diagram, the lead change is here on the center line, so you want to make sure you're as close to that as you can. Okay, any questions on this pattern? This pattern is for the novice youth and the novice amateur. Yeah, the question was about the way she did her loop. Are you talking about the speed of it or the shape of it? Yeah, the shape of it's correct. Like I said, one thing you'll need to be conscious of, though, in the Watt Arena is that you don't make it too wide. Because if you do, you're going to be so far on that side of the arena, you're not going to have enough room for your lope circle. Okay? All right, the next pattern is for the U13 and under, the solid paint bred, the masters amateur, and the gold non-pro 5-year-old and under breeders futurity. Again, very similar to the pattern that we just did. The difference is after they stop and back, they're going to do a 540 to the right. Okay, so again, they're going to start at A. The cone will be on their left-hand side. Extend the jog loop to the right, slow to a jog, stop and back, 540, lope right lead, lope a right 3/4 circle, lope a right square corner, stop 180 left, left lead, simple lead change, right lead, break to a walk at cone A. Okay? All right, whenever you're ready. The 13 and under pattern is in the Watt Arena. So again, we're going to be conscious of the width of our loop here. And the 13 and unders, you're pretty much going to be stopping, aiming toward the middle of the entrance gate, okay, to make sure you've got enough room to do your lope circle. This pattern pretty much ends up heading toward that red post there in the middle between the two gates here in John Justin. You know, as we've ran this before in practice, one thing that I see people a lot of times forget to slow to the jog. You know, they're into it, they'll extend the trot up there really quick and just forget it and stop and back up. So we want to make sure that you perform all the necessary gaits there. And as I mentioned in the last pattern, if you're in Watt Arena, once your horse's head gets past this start marker, you want to think about making your right corner. If not, you're going to be right up on the wall. So left lead, and then here at the center line where she loped across and did her corner, she'll do her lead change. Wonderful. Let's do it once more. Everyone has a good idea what it's supposed to look like. Good job. And like I mentioned, the cone for this pattern in this arena is set up where it's going to be set up for the class. So okay, one thing to remember is we're coming across here, you need to be very aware of where you're at, okay? To make this corner, make sure you don't get too close up to that wall. Any questions on this pattern? Again, this is for the 13 and under. All the solids, that's youth and amateur both, the master's amateur and the gold non-pro 5 and under breeders futurity. Correct. Yep. The question was about how many steps to back. So again, 5 or 6 steps, okay? So the next pattern is for the youth 18 and under and the amateur. So the youth will be in the Watt Arena, and then the amateurs here in John Justin. So we have a little bit extra to this pattern. So again, we're going to start with the extended jog loop to the right, slow to the jog, stop and back, 540. We're going to lope right lead. After we pass the center line, we're going to build some speed and lope the 3/4 circle with speed, okay? Once we finish that 3/4 circle and start heading back to the wall, we're going to collect the lope. We'll get down here to this side of the pattern. You'll do your right square corner. You're going to stop, perform a 180 left. This one has 2 lead changes, okay? 2 simple lead changes. So you're going to lope left lead, simple lead change, right lead, simple lead change, break to a walk when you're even with A. Now the reason that I asked for 2 simples in this instead of a flying was, you know, I figure at the world show level, we need to have exhibitors that have a very good connection with their horse, that have a lot of feel, and this is a great way to view that and judge this kind of pattern. So one thing we need to be aware of is, since you've got 2 simple lead changes in here, you have to get up far enough up the arena that you have room to do this, okay? The first lead change is before the center line, all right? And then the second lead change, obviously, is after the center line. Okay, give yourself enough room to lope to the cone, break down to a walk. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this pattern, and it's going to move rather quickly. Again, you're going to have to sort of attack this with a plan, know where you want to be. You know, it's not going to be a last-minute decision. All right, so whenever you're ready. As a reminder for the youth that's going to be doing this in the Watt Arena, make sure we're not making this loop so wide that you don't have room to lope your circle in the next portion of your pattern here. So after she gets across the center line here, we can start thinking about building some speed. Then we'll lope that 3/4 circle with speed. Again, for the best score, you've got to show us a difference in speed, okay? You can't lope. Don't try to lope the first part of it extra slow. Again, a good horseman is going to know what their horse's legs are doing, okay? All right, good job. So again, we got to get far enough up the arena here that we have room to do that first lead change before the center line. Okay, good job. What we want to do is to make this pretty even, okay? The amount of strides between lead changes. What we don't want you to do is cut it short, and then you're trying to cram 2 lead changes into a very small amount of room, okay? Again, that's going to be maneuver scores. So really want to plan that out. You know, I know Watt Arena is tight, but we've practiced it in there. We do have room to do the 2 lead changes up there with no problem. Again, it's just you're gonna have to think through it a little bit. Okay, let's do it once more. Okay, that was good. She got past that center line before she started building that speed. One thing we've noticed when we're practicing these patterns, you'll practice it a few times. Some of these horses, after the second lead change, you break down to a walk or think about changing leads again. So again, pay attention, have some connection with your horse. One thing we want you to do, we want to do correctness first, okay? We don't want to sacrifice correctness for speed. So doing the pattern correctly, doing all the maneuvers correctly is the cake, okay? Adding the speed and the pizzazz on top of it is the frosting. We don't want more frosting than cake, okay? We've got to do it correct first, okay? Question? Ideally, that's how we would like it, as close to that as possible. The question was on the diagram here, the top of the circle is pretty much even or just a little less than this line that you turn into your lead changes, okay? So again, as close as you can do that to the diagram as possible is great. This straight line down the rail here is just a smidge past the top of that circle. So you'll have a little bit of forgiveness there, okay? But other than that, we'll try to get as close to that as possible.